Actually, I don't have a computer, and I never used a computer during the college year, and then, um, during the college years. So, and usually I go to the library and we check out, we see all the, and card and get information and take it to the information desk, and then, they check it out for us. That's the system. And I came over here around, came over to the United States in 1996, and then still, I have two kids, and I send them to my kids to the daycare and babysitter, and then we don't have any kind of also emergency contact, and then just in case I want to have an emergency contact, and then I had a cell phone. It's a big cell phone like this, AT&T, Nokia. It's a big cell phone, and then we pay for like 25 minutes or 50 minutes per month. That is the kind of technology that, kind of a recent technology that I had, and then 2 years later, and then like 1998 or 1997, and then I went to Korea, and then I was really surprised. And in America, it's just a cell phone is for just few people like me, and who really have a businessman and other people, and they have a cell phone, and then. So when I went to Korea, I went back to Korea and then visited my families, and I had something, and then I was really surprised. Everybody has cell phone, like even elementary kids. They hung the cell phone on their neck, and then just it was really surprised, and just compare the different life here and Korea, and that was really surprising. And I want to study more, and then I went to junior college because I already graduated college and kind of master level in secondary school, and then but still there's a lot of requirement for my study, and then I decided to go back to college, and then I start off with the junior college, and then because at the time I had time, so I went to Services College to take some class for 1 year or one semester. I took the introduction of psychology and speech class, and I had ESL class, and I had English class there, and then almost 2 years. I mean almost 2 years, 1 year, and I finished everything. It was too hard, but I finished the whole class. But my English was not good, and it was not enough to go to college because my listening is already limited, right? And why I was in Service College, and I didn't know how to use the computer, so how can search the whole thing, library, and then at first that was the first time to how can use a Yahoo search engine, and then we practice and go to library, and then we gotta practice again, and that was kind of act with the technology first actively. And I went to the Capital Pomona, Coastal Pomona, and they have the same instruction, and from the time, and I got a computer, and then I used computer, and then went to the library. I used the computers, not desktop, not laptop. Laptop was not that popular and expensive, and then I didn't use it. I don't know though, guys, what I'm talking about, and maybe you are different generation, and maybe, I don't know, you are maybe 30, around under 30, and then maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. and especially you grew up with your cell phone, and a lot of kids and grew up with cell phone and tablets, and I don't know how they figured it out, but I was really surprised when I see the kids playing with the games on the phone and then with on the tablet. How they figured it out? How they learn? It seems like very complicated, but they know. And there was kind of this question is like 80s, 90s, and computers coming out and keep so use computers use the working place and schools, and then there's a how even though there's not a kind of a public the technology was the public, and it's really limited to certain people, but still people are really thinking about between the relationship in education and technologies. And there is kind of sometimes in education and technology means that they kind of think about how can use computers, hardware, and software, and educational theory and practice to facilitate learning. That's educational, educational technology. So usually they say use the abbreviations like edtech, and so edtech is kind of referring to the industry of a company that kind of create education and technology, right? And there's a lot of programs out there, and then if you go to edtech.com, and you can see, and maybe how many programs and how many extra resources are available, you can see that one. So, and another thing is that if you say the education and technology is a field of the study that investigated the process of analyzing and designing and developing and implanting and evaluating the instructional environment, it's a little bit different, right? They don't think about the actual, maybe there's part of that one, but it's a big picture of how can you do kind of education, right? And so how can you improve through the process, how can you improve teaching and learning? That's kind of educational technology. So they don't think about actually computers and technologies, but still they say education and technology, and then there is two meaning there, right? Education and technology, and you relate to the still programs and hardwares, right? But we're gonna talk about not the kind of education, was a field of study that kind of investigate process of analyze, not the second one. So we're gonna talk about the first one, how maybe even though there's a lot of debate if it's already good or not good, it's really helpful or it's harmful. Here is, I don't know whether you guys think true or false. Think about it. The effective use of digital learning tool in classroom can increase student engagement, help a teacher improve the lessons plan, and facilitate personalized learning. It also helps students to build essential 21st century skills. What do you think? It's true or false? Depends on how you think. Depends on your perspective. right? But think about, I never thought about the online classes and then distance learnings. I had a little kind of a hybrid class, and then my program is intercultural studies, and then program is what we usually use the technology, right? We sign in a certain program like campus, and then all classes is there, and then we got to interact with other classmates and teachers, and sometimes professor to post of the lectures, and but that's a basic. Even though we don't come to school, but we use the technology and try to interact and try to learn, and then we gotta do some meet or the unit of class, and then we need to come to the school. So we spend whole weeks for the class, and that's a classroom learning, and so like 8 to 5, whole 2 weeks, and depends on how many classes you take, and then that is a kind of class, and then after COVID, and then we don't think about like much distance learning is there, but it's not virtual and class, and teachers are sitting with other students, and then that was a real life though. It's not for certain people. Last 2 years, and just think about whole year schools down, and then no classroom, and what virtually try to teach, and sometimes hybrid or whatever, and then we went through a lot of stuff, but we realized that how technology is influential on us nowadays, even education. So here is a virtual classroom and videos. This is a part of that one, this class, and then augmented realities and also and robot and other technology tools can not only make a class more lively, they can also create more inclusive learning environment that foster collaboration and inquisitiveness, and enable teachers to collect data and student performance. What do you think? Is it true or false? Yeah, we do, but in terms of effectiveness and in effectiveness to fulfill the purpose of education, and then what do you think about it? And here is some educational technology challenges. Built-in reported that 92% of the teachers understand the impact of technology in education. I already told you my stories, how technologies change and how much time they could use it. So according to the project tomorrow, 59% of the middle school students say digital education to have helped them with their grade and test score. 59%, but 41% not really. These tools have become so popular that the education technology market is projected what? It's 2025, and in 2 years, and 342 billion, according to the World Economic Forum. That is, think about how much they spend on education and technology. How many students help from the education and the technologies, but low implementation and use less than 10%. Actually, think about low implementation in maybe there's a budget problem at school, and even though there is a system like but using them less than 10%. So we spend a lot of money on that one, but it's not effective, right? When I was in high school, and that's the only school that has the video system. We can do something with the video, and then and everything is connected to the classroom, and they can do something, but it's not effective. We never use for education though. I know we use the spiritual education. I graduated from the Christian high school. We had kind of every Monday kind of word, not devotion, and pastor came, and then he turned on the video, and then we had a devotional time together. And sometimes we had come announcement, whole class, and my principal came out, vice principal came out, and teachers came out, and they gave us an announcement like this. That's all. But there was no any educational purpose. We never taken any classes from that one. We never used it for the class. Like this, no problem. You're keeping educator to be able to develop and write online educational content. In the beginning of the COVID and school is shut down, and a lot of us teachers they are maybe 50s and 60s, and they get in trouble to learn the computers. How can use the Zooms, and how can talk, and how can upload, how can download, all it's kind of messy and hectic and very stressful for the teachers, and they gotta learn, right? Even though they use the basic stuff and like a word process and other stuff, and they don't know much about computers. Like my wife, she uses just a word process, typing, and that's all. Maybe a spelling check and edit, but she cannot make a table well, and she cannot use the other stuff. And then sometimes when she needs help, but we are busy, and then we kind of respond is not quick, but she's really mad because I told her just play with it, open and don't save, and just play with it. If you cannot do anything, just close and open again. That's my way to learn the kind of new program, new things. But anyway, they are scared. What if I do and kind of computer is broken down and it's out of order, and what if I mess up the work like that? That's a fear is there. And some are really good and some are not good. Just think about those kind of issues, and then what a reality, and then how can we deal with when we use the technology in education. What about the tangible benefit that we can see using technology in education? Increase collaboration and communication. Really? Do you think that? Maybe if you use a Zoom, and I don't know how many percent are going to participate, and just think about it. If you are sitting in the classroom, if I ask some question, and then maybe, what do you think about it, and give you a specific, and then maybe you can say something, and if you have, and then maybe you can ask some question. But in this setting, even though we use the technology, and then it's totally different story. What about Zoom? They are really focused on the class, or are they doing other stuff? It's just a lot of happenings. They turn on the class, turn on the log in, and then they are there, but they're doing other stuff. Pretend to study, pretend to listen. And maybe, I don't know, increase collaboration. Yeah, and we already saw that like a 95, 59% that really help people their grade, increase their grade. And I know it's really work together like, think about Google Doc. And if you have a certain project and then maybe I watched my daughters and then they write in the paper and then they assign and they keep writing and they check the other people's writing and correct something, add something and edit something like that. Yeah, they can do communication and like this. That's a positive benefit though. Even though they are not maybe in the same space, but still whenever time is available and log in, they're working on what they supposed to do, right? There's a benefit. But on the other side, I already told you, right? If you cannot see whole things and it's hard, they are doing the other things and they're not part of their class. And there is no collaboration, there is no communication, just superficial, right? Personalized learning and opportunities, and maybe there is a lot of educational programs that you can use, especially if you do, if you have some program and then there is a reading section is there and for my kids and then they read and different level programs there and their reading level is low and they can read the level books and then take a test and then if they are a little bit higher level in reading and then they can a little bit harder stuff read and take a test like this and they can personalize learning like math too, right? And that's good though. What about the curiosity driven by the engaging content? If you don't have curiosity, what happens? Just play game? That's true though. Really good thing is that online is available and a website and you can Google it and creating information you don't know and just typing and then pops out and then hey, it's related to the topic that I'm teaching and then it's the right kind of material that I'm looking for and then it's really easy for me though. Sometimes when I have a lot of questions now. Long time ago, I don't think about much, but nowadays too much questions. So if I don't know, and Google and Google and Google and like this, until kind of I understood kind of pictures, and then I learn little by little. So because I have a curiosity about that, so while I'm reading, and then something's really curious, and then I typing in some terminology and I don't know and kind of Google it like this and then try to understand the whole like this. But what if students are not curious, students have no curiosity? That's one of the benefits though, right? Improve the teacher productivity and efficiency, right? Teacher can use the time, a lot of different things, and then, okay, why they use computer and laptop and then whatever, and then teacher can do it, different things, and prepare for next step, and then in the whole picture of the classroom, right? And then maybe work efficiently. But just think about, and if you don't, everybody has their own thing and they doing their own, and then maybe teachers sitting there and then doing something and preparing other things, and then what if focus on their work, right? But still, there's benefit though. Yeah, there's benefit. That's the basic ideas, and then around 2008, this was a long time ago. It's like 15 years old. 2022 is 14 years ago, and then there's a medical land. It's the future of higher education, how technology will shape the learning. That's interesting, and she kind of research about, and then showed that's kind of the key summary of her research, and then think about 2008, and then how they think about education, technology in education. And here is, and then look at this, and then technology remains a destructive innovation and expensive one, because it's really expensive, it's hard to innovate, it's a lot of money. But faculty member used to teaching in one way, maybe load to invest the time to learn new method, and maybe lack the budget for the needed support, right? There's a general issue, but look at this. And she said technology has had significant impact on higher education. Almost two-thirds, 63% of the survey respondents from both public and private sector schools says that technological innovation will have a major influence on teaching methodologies over the next 5 years, right? Private sectors and public sectors, they already know that how the technology will influence on education. And technology will become a core differentiator in attracting students and cooperating partners. They really weigh on technology in 2008. And here is she's reported online learning is gaining from foothold in universities around the world. Like a lot of classes like university openings and other schools are online programs, and then it's not that popular though. There's online, I know there's online degree and PhD degree and science degree and a lot of degrees out there, but if you are really think about formal education, and then that much credit, because design is really different, and maybe like me, and then I have more benefit from their classroom setting than the online, because sometimes it's really not comparable with learning from online. I can read, maybe I can have my own pace, but still, just think about when you are in classroom sometimes and kind of pushed by teachers, and then you have to just keep going on, then you gotta keep new materials coming on, and but if you don't keep it up with the discipline, it's just hard to do that, right? And so more than two-thirds of respondents from the academia says that their institution offers online courses. And many of them, especially those who public service mandate, consider online learning key to advance their missions, place and advance education with reachable people who might otherwise not able to access it. So I know, so a lot of people are going back to school to be qualified, like nurses, and long time ago they will need bachelor degrees, right? And nowadays, if you are RN and they need bachelor degree, and they're gonna go back to school. Usually, mostly they take an online class provided by schools. And I never take the online class itself, so maybe I don't prefer taking the class online, but some of them they really like it. 2008, yeah, it's not popular about the online class, but already started, and then they thinking about still winning the ground at the time. Here is that's why, and corporate academic partnership will form the increasing part of the university experience at a time when locating funding and controlling costs are the key concern, because of if they wanna renovate with the technology, the cost is already a lot. And when only 1/4 of university chief information officer have a place at the table when it comes to sitting strategy, to attract corporate partnership and institution will need to demonstrate a commitment to address technologies. So Apple provide a lot of computers to schools. And if you go to the library, and there's a lot of people use Apple, school use Apple a lot for education. So, like software, like Microsoft, and then there's a special discount for school, educator, and education, like these sectors, and different. They try to work with the schools, right? Computers and programs. Here is universal responded to the technologies having a large and positive impact on their campuses, but acknowledge that operational change may be hinder the full benefit from the being realized what? And but still, yeah, a lot of people are expecting that online education, so the online education is really because the technology is, technology is really crucial in the education. What about, they say technology may be disruptive in ways not intended. Respondent note that arise in student plagiarism, cheating, and distractibility, and which they are attributed to easy or ready access to mobile technologies. That's true. And what about the higher education is responding to globalizations, and then respondents say that having overseas presence will be the norm for the majority of the university over the coming years. About 54% of academic respondents say that their institution either already have a foreign location or plan to open them in the next 3 years, right? So school is in here and there, and one school is maybe still there is I don't know the public schools, and then universities like that, Phoenix University of Phoenix, and then it's a lot of sites, right? They just rent the building, and it's next door. It's like a 2-3 minutes away from my house, and there's offices there, and students go and studies like this. Distance education is also becoming increasingly global. So with the university in the US and always learning advanced technology to put education with reach of many more individuals around the world. And then there are a lot of programs in PhD and then like in European countries, and then you don't have to go to school, but yeah, everything is kind of work and here and then once a year and then talk to go and talk to your everything is communication is online, the internet or using technology, and then you can go once a year like this. It's different way. And really, it's a lot of schools, and they have schools in outside of the United States, like this, right? Just think about that. It's 2008, and people already kind of using already using the technology in education, and then the research student or was a school administrator, and they already predict that the technology is kind of more crucial in education. And I'm gonna, there is an article about the basic idea about how technology is really effective and what is a concern, like Raja and PC, Nagasubramani, and they wrote the papers, short papers, so I might share today. What about the modern technology in education? What kind of technology we can use it? Internet connection and around the cloud connectivities. And think about the use of the internet allow students to find amazing resources and convenience, right? And so they can find that various kind of help and tutorial and other kind of assistive material that could be used to academically improve and enhance their learning, right? If internet is down, you cannot do anything. Not just for study, learning. You cannot work. So internet is part of our life nowadays, right? Social media, we cannot use the internet, and it's hard to see that. Also, eventually there is a connection with whether mobile and whether, right? What about using the projectors and visuals? Nowadays, what is the most popular? When you presenting, when you use PowerPoint and Pretzel, so like different things, different programs. There's a visual impact, and there's a kind of when I was in college here, when I was like a college, junior, when you long time ago, like around 90s, and then we had overhead product at churches, and then we use it to write down something on the film and the project here. And then 2003, I was taking the cognitive psychology, and then he used the overhead product. He write, and the film is kind of there's an individual screen and then film, but user write down and the project, and you can see. And there's always a project, but nowadays, and then nobody use that one, and then it's really old, and then use a lot of people, PowerPoint like this. This one PowerPoint. But if you present something and then this is common. It's it's boring. The reason that I use the whole sentence and like a lot of letters because English is not my primary language, native language, and so sometimes I try to deliver to what I'm thinking, what I'm supposed to teach, but sometimes it's not enough, right? It means that you guys may misunderstand what I'm saying, but I want to see that one, and then you can see what I try to understand. Sometimes we are not there saying, English is second language, that's why it's better communication between you and me. A lot of times native speakers and don't understand what, like us, because of little bit sentence structure is a little bit weird, and then sometimes the pronunciation is not correct, and they don't understand what I'm saying. So usually that's why I use a lot of words, and it just seems like boring. Maybe when you guys say, and then another reason that I don't like making a PowerPoint fancy, like use a pretzel, and then you need a lot of time. You're gonna make something. I don't want to spend time on that one. If special presentation, you better do it, but depends on. So we can use a projector and we can have a visual effect. And what about the digitals in education sectors? And then a lot of penetration of digital media within the education sector has now grown. They use a lot of programs compared to campus. It's one of them. Everything is in the campus, and you can see what you have, your bills and tuition bills, or whatever, your class and your grade, and you can see everything, right? And otherwise, and there is a cloud is there, and then we can access to the internet, and then you have an ID, right? And then you can access your information, and sometimes you can access a library. You don't have to go to school. And after I graduated from the college and university, and then I cannot access anymore. And there is an online degree with the use of technology, right? There is classes there, and you gotta take a class, and sometimes tests is there, you gotta take a test too, right? That's why, and sometimes it's negativities or negative impacts like cheating, all kind of stuff, but sometimes open book, and you can use any kind of material for the test, and then there is the hardest test. If you don't understand the basic concept, and if you don't put together everything, and then you cannot solve solve a problem. It's really conceptual, right? Just think about it, and that's nowadays we are using the technologies, schools and students, and already they run the programs and still running the programs, right? Nowadays they provide online classes and then Zoom classes. A lot of people right there you can do. Why is so important technology in education? What is the importance of technology in education? Just think about the role of the technology in the field of education. and there is four areas that also technology is a part of your curriculums, right? Included part of the curriculums. What about the instruction delivery system? Instructional delivery system, right? Nowadays, if you have something and from the professor and email is coming, and sometimes a more faster way than you can use social media and messenger, whatever is available. What about the means of aiding instructions? Like me, and then we have group chat for the class, and then that was a part of it. You gotta engage the class. At least you gotta, when you turn in the papers, other things, and then you gotta read. At least two people, it's 8 people as a classmate, and you gotta pick the 2 people of the classmate and read and give them a comment. Like this, and then instructionism has more thought and idea, and professor intervenes, and they explain and they ask more questions and provoke them more questions and like this. Which even though we are not in classroom, we can communicate, but not on the spot. Depends on whenever the time is available. That is kind of a limitation, though. I don't know what it's about, and I typed it, but maybe it depends on availability for professor and friend was a classmate, and then 1 day later, 2 days later, I totally forgot, like this. But we can do that. The means of aiding instruction. A tool will enhance the entire learning process. We can save time, and maybe we can communicate. Sometimes depends on people, and then when I get an instruction, I wanna do the face to face. It's convenient for me, comfortable for me. So when I talk to company representative of any companies and then services, and I always try to listen, but their speaking English is different from mine because I'm the second language, and I always make it sure in my word. You mean like this, and they say, okay, yeah, I got it. Because really, was the expression is really limited for me. And I know I was serving a church, and then the church was a Caucasian dominant church, more than 80%. And then I kind of work with the board, and then I'm the only one. In the beginning, there were 2, but one is he moved away, but I'm the only one. But when I talking, and I don't really pay attention what they talking. Because they use a lot of idioms, and sometimes I don't know the cultural background of what they say, right? And sometimes they make sure what they say, and do you understand? Yeah, I got it. And sometimes, and I'm saying something, but they don't understand what I'm saying, but try to, maybe someone who understands what I'm saying and try to paraphrase and rephrase, and then help them like this, and then, but that's why, but it's a lot of benefit though, like it save a lot of time, and maybe renovation is expensive, but it get a lot of help. And just to think about process already given, and then you can whatever is available you can see, and what is the you can easy to see next step, and so what is your previous, and then what are you standing, where are you standing now, and what are you gonna do? So yeah, that's the one of the roles of technology, and then why is important is education is kind of really it's not completely, but they said from passive to reactive to what? Interactive to aggressive. And I don't know, depends on the people, but if you are in a classroom and if I don't kind of participate, you guys are participating in the classroom and we talked a lot, and even though you don't, depends on the teachers how run the classroom, and then maybe mostly they sitting and trying to understand what teacher said and very passive, right? But if you use a technology and then you can type and you can ask, it's easier, depends on, there is a kind of technology is really important. What about affecting technology in education? How you affect technology on education? Here is, and then modern technology demanding that teachers learn how to use this technology in their teaching. And this new technology increases teachers' training need. And what is the researcher Gressard and Lloyd says that the teacher's attitude towards the computer are the key factor, in the successful implementation of ICT, information and communication technology in education. 1985, right? They are talking about computers. But nowadays, people old, maybe there's no problem with, like people with COVID, and then they use the word is enough. Maybe basic, access is basic kind of access is enough, right? But when you need to run a class through Zoom or Google Meet, other media, and what you gotta know how to do it. That is one of your common, really big barriers using the technologies. Teacher needed to train, but a lot of people really fear about learning and dealing with the technologies. But other common barriers is, I don't have time. I don't have access, I don't have computers, and I don't have internet, and lack of access and lack of resources. I don't have enough resources. Lack of expertise and lack of support. That is common barriers that teachers said. But what is the other barriers? And Butler and Sheldon said, and Schimmer and Williams, and reliability. Okay, we have technologies. What if power is out? Nothing we cannot do it. What about your personal internet is kind of slow because it's not fast enough. What about the software compatibilities? Right? Yeah, there's a lot of things that internet connectivities, and then that's the issue that we can think about, reliability. How much we can do it, and how much we cannot do it. What do you think about, you guys? What is the barrier that using the technology in education in your experience? For me, I already told you, and I don't like learning, saying something just online, and I don't see the facial expression, and I don't just it's hard to understand. Maybe understand with just letters, but when they talk about the stuff, and then how they kind of express the facial express and emotions and all kind of stuff, I wanna say. That is kind of factors that impact on technology in education. What about the information and communication technologies that impact on education? Because we need to deliver the information, and we gotta communicate. That's why there's really ICT is really important. What's the impact? They said it created helps active learning, so computerized calculation and analysis of information, and we can see what I'm doing now. What is the weak point? What is the strength? What is the weakness? What is the strength? Like this, right? You can see the whole pictures, and with visual effect. What about collaborative and then cooperative learning? Working together like a Google Doc, yeah? Even though you are, if you are kind of away, maybe school provides a special program, then you can join and sign like me, and then the professor opened the class, and we can go in and talk together, maybe we can do group project, and then we can discuss, and then, like this. What about they said the creative learning? So, promote the manipulation of existing information and to create their own knowledge to produce a tangible product or the given instructional purpose. Yeah, like me, and maybe you guys are so boring, but still, you can refresh my PowerPoint, and then maybe you can use a little bit, make it dynamic like a present, with the present, and then like this, and create your own ways and produce a tangible product or give the instruction purpose. You can change, even though you don't have to change the content, but still you can use it in different way, make it productive, right? What about integrative learning? So, and ICT is gonna give them integrative learning. So, promoting integrative approach to teaching and learning by eliminating synthetic separation between theory and practice. So, unlike a traditional classroom here, and emphasis or enclose just a particular aspect. maybe, you can do something on the spot and apply, but still, even though it's traditional classroom, and depends on how you run the classroom, right? How you manage the class, and then you can do different way. But maybe if you use and programs and computers, and maybe more effective. It's easier. What about the evaluative learning? Student center, you can you can make a program, student centered, right? It's not for teacher, and provide useful feedback to the various interactive features. So basically, information and communication technology allows the student to discover and learn through new ways of teaching and learning, which is sustained by constructivist theory of learning, rather than the student do the memorization and rote learning. It's different, right? And that one is kind of constructivism theories behind. Any other thing that you can add here? And maybe you can add. What about the positive impact on education technologies? It's very similar, but this like this. Active learning and collaborative and cooperative learning and creative learning, integrative learning and evaluative learning. That's the impact on education. But that's a different aspect of the it's a positive impact, and there is a positive impact and negative impact, right? What is the positive impact? And enhanced teaching and learning. Do you agree with that one? Enhanced. Let's see why. Technological development like digital camera and projector and mind training software, computer, and PowerPoint presentation, and 3D visualization tools, all these have become a great source for teachers to help students grasp and concept easily. You need a lot of time, lack of time. One of the issues, lack of time. I know if you use it, it's really helpful. Sometimes if you see a visual process and if you see it, and then much easier to understand what, and just saying something, right? And that's why it's teacher can help student a lot, and student have more easier understanding of the material. What about the positive impact in globalizations? I don't know how many students are in other your home countries, and then but still you can access remotely, and then you can still taking classes, right? And that's the globalizations, and then maybe use the technology, and then school is coming, there are branch schools in other countries, and right? And it is, and then here it is, and then when school is in different part of the state, and students can meet their counterparts through the video conferences without leaving their classroom, right? Such globalization, and I know a lot of like McDonald's is everywhere in the world, right? And not colleges, yeah, education is a little bit different, but still, I know there's some international schools in Korea and college. Yeah, some college they have a branch school in Korea like this, and then yeah, not a lot, but still, and sometimes they have some contracts and then exchange the credits, and then they will exchange student programs. It's a lot, right? But still, even you go to there and you can still take a class. And there is no geographical limitation. With the, not all the time, think about it. There is no electricity and there is no internet, and it's hard to do that. But generally, school is not there, education is not there. But maybe some students live there, right? And just something happened, and pandemic, and happened that the student cannot go to school. And I know that Mexico is it's not a city area, and then they are different, and sometimes there's a phone like a long-term prepaid programs, and then they kind of buy the minute and they can use, and that it's not available at their home, and there's place, right? And they kind of PC room, and they can assess the schools, and then assess others, other things, and then that is kind of a limitation though. If they don't have personal computers, and then because of the economic reason, sometimes financial reason, and sometimes geographical reason, like the place that I've been about 10 years in Mexico, Michoacan in Mexico, and we went to places. There's a church in from the city, so like a 40 minutes away from the city, and it's the middle of the mountain, and then there is no internet, and there is no. That's why when they have a kid, they during the pandemic, and they have to go to a computer. Because there's a place, and you have to pay for hour, and then they can use the internet. And there's no internet, and then they cannot use a cell phone there. And then usually, when I communicate with the pastor, and then only time we can kind of text each other when he came down and connected to the internet, like this. Otherwise, there is like a satellite there. It's but I don't know whether at that time just for the programs, TV programs, and then I don't know whether they can use the cell phone. Usually, maybe they use the programs, right? But with the introduction of the online degree program, there is hardly any need of being present physically in the classroom, right? This online program is there, and I know one of my friends, she degrees, or like I was thinking about, but I didn't pursue the program. There's a doctoral psychology, and then if you take it, and then around 3-4 years, and then certain hours, you can get the you can apply for license, counseling license, and then my friend, she finished it, and then there's a lot of hard time to something to deal with the school, but still she finished, and she finally got a license, and she's practicing like the online degrees. any place, right? And even several foreign universities have started online program degree courses that students can join. Distance learning and online education have become a very important part of the education system nowadays. Not before, after pandemic, it's more and more, all the more. And yeah, that is a positive impact. Technology, using the what's the information and communication technologies. What about the negative impacts? Do you know what's the negative impacts? If you use technology, like there's auto correction. Nowadays, yeah, it's good for the foreigners, and then sometimes I try to really pay attention to the grammars, but always I made a mistake. And I use a Grammarly. I tried to finish my dissertation, and then I subscribed 2 years. 1 year is almost $140. And finally, I'm done with my dissertation, and I kind of already set the auto subscription, and then maybe next year, beginning of next year, so your program is subscription is done, and then it's really helpful to for us, and then what's wrong and sentences are awkward, and just read one more time, and then okay, grammar is kind of number is not agreed, and then we can correct, and all things, right, help a lot. And with the kind of writing style that nowadays are using. But for the natives, decline in writing skills. Look at this. Due to the excessive usage of online chatting and shortcuts, the writing skill today's young generation have declined quite tremendously. Spellings, nowadays they don't need to know. Auto correction is there. But just think about when you get the information, and you don't have to write the whole sentence, and you don't have to write the logic like this, right? That's why. And these days, children rely more and more on the digital communication, that they have totally forget about improving their writing skills. They don't know spelling of different words, how to use the grammar properly, or how to do cursive writing. Cursive writing, it's always kind of confusing, and my kids kind of learning so third grade, second grade, cursive writing. At that time, it's a really good penmanship though. They write really well, but nowadays, no. And I could hear that when they type, just listen to the typing sound. What about another negative impact and the increasing instant of cheating? It relates to our values, and right? From elementary to professional school, like law school, and like medical schools, and in professional school, cheating is always there because of technology. Technology development, like graphical calculators, high-tech watches, and mini cameras, and similar equipment have become great source of cheating in exams. Have you used any of this kind of stuff? yeah, when I high school and then when they wanna chill and there is no, they cannot mix the lot. They cannot make a lot of different version, right? Always the same. One, two, yeah. If you have a five, the 50 question is a one, two, three, yeah. One to 50 is the same range. They cannot make a lot of different versions. A lot of work and money. And at that time, so they just use and one of my next, yeah, behind, one is behind, one is front, and they ask, yeah, they just grab my answer key sheet, and then copy it. But not exactly. They have they are smart, and if they copy exactly, and then they're gonna be trouble, right? With me, include me, so they copy a little bit different way, and then turn them, and they pass the class. They are kind of soccer players. They don't come to class a lot, and they play soccer whole day. Yeah, on the field. Yeah, that is cheating. So when I know my kids are taking AP class, and they can use a calculator, but they cannot take a certain kind of calculator. Only like plus plus subtraction and basic calculator they can bring it, but they cannot use a program to calculators because it's easy and just put the number and they know answer is coming out, right? What about lack of focus? We said it and really great impact on the also integrative learning and but still lack of focus is one of the problem. Problem is that SMS or the text messages become a favorite pastime of many students. Students are seen playing with their cell phone and iPhones day and night, driving, and often, I already told you, right? They don't focus on the lectures, and then they log in, and they were still, some of them is like, I have some instructional, I have to take some education about sex, and like a lot of things happen in the campus and on the campus, and then they have to give them some provide education, and then some of them certain time you gotta wait though. Even though you read everything and you did everything, but still wait. And they are doing other stuff, right? It's really divided. So I know it's a lot of benefits there, but still a lot of problems, impacts. But what is the advantages if you are using the negative impact and positive impact, but what is the advantages? And they use a lot of graphic stuff and then organized materials, and then make students more excited to learn. Probably, right? Wow, maybe, give them a lot of, if you are interested in other stuff, and if you are interested in art and design, and maybe intrigue the interest more, right? Another advantage is help students with busy schedules and freedom to work at home under their own time. You don't have to sitting and at the same time, but maybe there's a schedule conflict, and maybe you can do, I gotta go this one right now, maybe you can do later, like this. And depends on what you are doing. So think about who plays sports and during the high school, and then it's a lot of time they need. And just think about they are in season, and my daughters play tennis, and then they don't go to classroom afternoon and after like lunch, after lunch they packed everything and come out and busing to other schools, right? Depends on how far. I know there is a division is there, but still sometimes they drive the 1.5 hour, 1 hour, and they have to leave early. And coming back is when they come home, it's like 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock like this because of the traffic. And they are really busy, right? And where's the time to study? That's really helpful. And go to the classroom and log in the school page and class, log in what they needed to do and figure it out. And sometimes they miss a class and what is that? How can they go? Like all kind of instruction, and there's a class that they need to do. Understand there is material that they need to know. What about the trained student to learn new technology skills they can use later in the workplace? It's a really benefit though. And that's why I read about why I'm preparing the lectures, and I read an article about, and if they finish the high school and compare it without the diploma, high school diploma, and then what? They finish the high school and they get a job related to more technologies. Who doesn't have a high school diploma? There is more opportunity though, right? Maybe if you go to college, and then maybe if you take some computer classes, and then that helps a lot. More opportunity to expose to that setting. And otherwise, if you don't have a higher education, and if that they don't go to college and they just finish the high school, and then they gotta find a job, and what kind of jobs are available. Maybe, and maybe already programmized the computers, using the computer programmized, they don't have to do complicated skills, and they don't need them. Then it's okay. But if you need more creative, use the technology, and then maybe higher education is much different from others who don't have a higher education, and then they can be better, right? And decrease paper and photocopy cost, and promoting concept of green environment. Maybe, I know it's kind of frustrating, and sometimes I know that one of my internet company kind of send me notice that if you don't subscribe or use the paperless, and we're gonna charge $2.50 every month for the paper bill. I was kind of what? And right away I go into the website, and actually I didn't have the account, but I mean the login account, and then I made a sign up, and then create an account, and then turn to paperless. That is the advantage when you use technology, but sometimes to think about we can do it, but there's another disadvantage. You gotta go and check, and you don't know what's going on. Sometimes they charge extra, and even though I don't subscribe, but they charge. But sometimes I don't know what happened. But if you have a paper, and then you can see it one. But if you don't, and you gotta log in and then open what happened, and you gotta see the whole pages, right? What about the disadvantage though? If we use the technology in education, what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage, and then, right, a lot of people said that, and well, due to such technology in education, student imagination is affected and their thinking ability is reduced. What do you think? So imagination is kind of maybe kind of a trigger to think a different way, but imagination is kind of related to creativeness, right? And just based on the, like everything is like just push the button and then type and push the button, everything's coming out. But long time ago, think about it. You gotta do step by step with the pencils, right? And that's why step by step and help to build up your logical process. But everything is programmed, and then you just Beijing push the Beijing, everything's coming out. That's why that's disadvantage though. And sometimes it's time consuming for teachers' point of view. It's too much time, right? And you gotta use everything computer, and you gotta sit in. Sometimes you can just prepare and then talk, and then that's all. And nowadays, it's a lot of administrative process, and you gotta type in all things and do things. And if you wanna make a little bit, creative, and if you wanna have a visual effect, and you invest a lot of time to making PowerPoint, all kind of stuff, and it's not easy. Maybe it's not good props, but maybe they can use a poster, and they can show that. That's easier, but sometimes that's easier for them. But just think about until you are really comfortable with the computer skills and kind of using the programs, and then it's a lot of time you need. What about cost instead of such a technology? So that's true. Maybe government provide and school provide. It's really innovation as well. Innovation to technology. So it's very, very expensive. And I don't know, sometimes if you use a personal program, and then nowadays the program there's no package, right? If you think about, and you wanna kind of edit, and they have a different level of programs, and then you have to subscribe, you have to pay. And you know this, and you gotta pay. You better this pay. I can use the Microsoft home version, so I have to pay $100 per year. But it's different from the professional, right? I don't need a professional like this. There's a lot of different things, right? It's costly. There are the health issues too. What if you use too much time on the computer, and sometimes the kind of spine is crooked, and sometimes the statues come out, and sometimes there are problem with the hands. I don't know whether you guys heard, and then they play their PC gameplays, and then maybe someone play the game in 24 hours, 48 hours without anything, and then doing anything and die. And eyesight is getting worse. A lot of issues, right? And just sort of sitting on the computer without exercising, and it's not healthy. That is a disadvantage. Sometimes students can afford modern computer technologies, right? Because of financial issues, they cannot subscribe to internet. Yeah. And certain computer, I know this one is kind of covers everything, and but you gotta buy and over, right? So basically we are talking about technology in education, and then so impact positively, negatively, and then look at a lot of benefit and advantages and disadvantages, and then what is the best. It's really helpful to create what is effective education. How much? So maybe there's ethical issues and health issues, and then I know, but still, trend. When we see the trend is going to more, using more technologies, right? And my kids use a textbook, but 2 years later, in other school district, and then they don't use textbook, physical textbook. They use just tablet. You can see everything with the tablet. Textbook is on the tablet, and then how they doing, and you can see tablet, right? They're different. So maybe it's a lot of benefit though, but still we are losing a lot of stuff, right? So we need to know how to balance, right? Just don't think that traditional way is always bad. But just think about human beings. It's not a machine. We have emotions. We are social. Maybe it depends on the personality, more pro-social or less social and different, but still we are social beings. We have emotions, right? So I think we need a balance. Yeah, we need a balance, and still think about what is effective in education using technology, and then we gotta think deep, and then try to find the best way, right? There's an individual difference, and there's a cultural difference, right? And there's a socio-economic difference. But it's not easy to kind of tell to individual for individual students, and then but still we gotta that's why we need to creative how to run the classroom. All right, so I hope that if you use the technology, in fact, wisely, it's really good for you. So when I was thought about how we could use the technology effectively for families, and then I have an idea about, so every morning I read the Bible, and mostly sometimes when I'm busy and like today, and then I didn't do yet, and then usually I read the Bible and share it with my families, and then they kind of think together, and like this as a family. There's depends on how you use the technology, and then it just benefit, and there is a lot of benefit and now, disadvantages there, right? So I hope that we can see, and then we can see what is the best for students, and how can you use what is the roles in your education to purpose fulfill the goals, and then the better teaching and learning. So we're gonna let you think about the technology more. So and that's today's class, and I hope that it gives you kind of a basic idea to think about and what's going. I try to give you what's going on now, and then and try to think about like 2000 before and 2000, and then now it is 2020, and how difference there, and then they kind of 2000. That's why I introduced one of the articles that how they research about at that time for future, but just think about compare with the 2000s and 2020s, how different, right? I hope that it kind of will help you to think about education, communication, and technology, and so maybe you have a lot of different experience because you guys use it for, and maybe already many studies out there, but maybe even though you don't say anything, but still maybe you can add something, maybe you can kind of you have a critique on the previous study, and then because of because you had different experience in there. I hope that it's really helpful for you guys. And a little bit different rest of the class. We have 2 more classes, and then nowadays distance learning is really popular, like online classes, and then so we're gonna talk about that, and then what if you guys go outside and teach and in different cultural setting context, and then we're gonna talk about that one, and then a little bit more it's related to politics, how influential on education. That's the rest of the class. All right, you guys have a great week, and I hope that